Right, let's get straight into our leading story. Delegates at the ANC KZN conference have been nominating additional members of the Provincial Executive Committee. It's now been confirmed that President Cyril Ramaphosa will deliver the closing address at the conference after it was reported earlier that he was unable to. This comes after the top leadership positions were filled. Our reporter Mbali Thethani joins us now with more. Mbali, very good afternoon to you. We heard on Friday that President Cyril Ramaphosa will be coming, but of course, that still was not confirmed up until now, the official word out. And there's also been a lot of sentiment, especially throughout the past 2 days, from political analysts, some saying that the reception that the president could receive may be cold. What's the feeling on the ground?
That's certainly right, Mpho. Of course, just when this conference kicked off, we did hear from the acting Secretary General, the Treasurer General of the ANC, Paul Mashatile, saying that indeed President Cyril Ramaphosa will indeed be coming here to come and close off the KZN ANC conference. But Mpho, early this morning, hearing from the newly elected chairperson of the ANC in KZN, Mbali Thethani, then confirming to Newzroom Afrika earlier on, saying that unfortunately, after he had spoken to President Cyril Ramaphosa, who congratulated him on his new position in the ANC here in the province, he then said, unfortunately, he will not then be addressing this conference. But you would remember that a number of people, and we've been seeing a number of people on social media just criticizing that decision that was taken earlier on for him not to come and address the conference here, Mpho. Of course, quite being central, and it is quite a very important province, especially for someone like Ramaphosa, who's looking at retaining his position at the ANC's upcoming conference much later this year in December. And you'd remember, Mpho, that when President Cyril Ramaphosa did become ANC president, he did so without the backing of this specific province. But at the same time, Mpho, we've now seen and of course heard from those officials in the ANC that indeed President Cyril Ramaphosa will be coming to close this address. And I must say, it started off as speculation inside the main plenary hall, where we began seeing ANC members then beginning to go off into a meeting, and then we subsequently then started seeing his security personnel and his advisor. I must also point out that while that was happening, I also then managed to spot Mondli Ngugubele, who is indeed the minister in the presidency, as well as Mbali Thethani, who has also been here for much of the weekend. He is indeed the ANC presidency. He is responsible for the presidency in the ANC. And you'd also remember, Mpho, when Ramaphosa did confirm indeed over the weekend that he would be making his way here, we also then started hearing murmurs and words from some people who had then threatened to bar him and boo him from coming to address the officials here in KZN. And I'm just also going to step out of shot just to show you the mood just outside the conference. We know that conference is still underway. There is indeed those nominations of the PEC members. But at the same time, as you can see here, there's still some ANC supporters huddled outside. And earlier on, there was a bit of a protest where some were calling for Ramaphosa to be removed as president of the ANC and president of the country. But you're certainly right. A number of analysts have been speaking about what this means if President Cyril Ramaphosa does not come and address this conference, and how important it would then be for him, especially during a very contentious year for the ANC, and it is being an elective year for the ANC at the same time, and of course being quite crucial. ANC KZN is the biggest in terms of membership and support in the ANC heading into the December conference. So, Mpho, one would imagine how important it is for President Cyril Ramaphosa to come and address the biggest region for the ANC in the country, being KZN.
Absolutely. Is there any indication at this point as to what time he's expected to step onto that podium?
Well, Mpho, earlier on, when we started seeing NEC members then huddle off into that meeting, a number of us trying to reach out and speak to them, of course, it's still not clear as to what time he will be addressing the delegates here. At the same time, I understand that they're still negotiating in terms of whether President Ramaphosa speaks before Mbali Thethani, who is indeed the chairperson, or then speaks after. But you would also remember that when you look at all the other conferences of the ANC where President Cyril Ramaphosa did indeed speak, most of the time he did close off those conferences, one in particular being that in the Eastern Cape, also at the same time looking at the one in Limpopo, but at the same time also looking at the one in Mpumalanga. That one was the only conference where indeed he had to speak a bit earlier on because he had another engagement that he needed to go to. But at the same time, this being very important because you would know coming into this conference there were a number of factions, and the faction that seems to have won here, who are under the banner, the Talibans, are well known that they are those, the ANC delegates who are aligned with the likes of Zweli Mkhize. And coming into this conference, there were the grouping calling themselves the Ankoles, and of course they are the ones who lost this conference, and they were the ones who were seen to be staunch supporters of President Cyril Ramaphosa and wanting him to retain his position come the ANC conference. So it is quite a very difficult terrain when you look at him coming to address the officials here and the delegates here. But at the same time, speaking once more to Mbali Thethani earlier on, saying that even though there were different groupings going into this conference, the ANC is one, and they are saying that they're pushing on for unity, and when the president comes and addresses them here, he does so, and they respect him in the manner and the position which he stands in the party, that being the ANC president. So it will be quite interesting to see whether indeed when President Cyril Ramaphosa does address this conference, where we won't be hearing any sounds of booing and for people asking him to leave. And you would remember as well, and Paul, just yesterday, we also saw people singing slogans such as Wenzenu Zuma. And you would remember that when you look at the July unrest last year, it was when the former president Jacob Zuma was then taken to prison, then we began to see that unrest that filled the streets of the likes of KZN as well as some parts of Gauteng.
Well, Mbali Thethani, let's leave it there for now. Of course, in the build-up to the closing statement of ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa, Mbali Thethani bringing us the latest coming from that conference now.